Hello and welcome to Sintoron's Corner, and today we are going to be doing an upgrade for ARC Trooper Commander Jesse. Now this one really needs it. We know that his helmets were wrong, so I got the other Jesse here that we said in the review the other day and the short, and obviously we've got a little comparison here with 5s, so hopefully this one will turn out. I might even adjust 5s a little bit. I start using the flat sprays and stuff now, so I'm going to use this guy for reference for all his kind of chip-ins and stuff, so I don't want to over weather Jesse here. But then I might go off and give him a bit of a matte spray as well over the top, because all these bits here are starting to look a little bit too shiny. So I will try and transcend over exactly the same kind of colour scheme in a way. So the helmet, obviously we have got removed, which is this one here. It is wrong because it's an ARC Trooper helmet when it's supposed to be the old faithful Phase 2. So we'll be taking this one off, which we've done from the bootleg here. And we've already got this part on there. And I know it should be a little bit bigger on there, but I think, to be honest, it should be just okay. I'm just going to do it as easy as possible, so if you guys want to try at home and this really scares you, then I will do it to the best of my way of actually still accommodating for this on here. If it looks too drastically out of place, I may sort of like have a go at it by enlarging it slightly, but I think it will do fine. And that's simply going to go over there. So I'm going to have to try and sort of like get the blue to match this one here. So what I'm using today, I've got this blue here from Ammo Mig. I don't really use these as much, but it is too bright, unfortunately. As you can see, like, this is the original color here, and I have kind of gone off with the flat blue that we have used on here before, just combining these two together. A lot more of this and a little bit of this, and I've got this part here, so it is quite of a good kind of color match on there. So I will be trying that onto this helmet. Apart from that, most of it is going to be all details and stuff like we need to add on here. So black, the silver buttons on here, a bit of a black wash over the top, little chip-ins and whatnot, a bit of gunmetal as well on these pistols and on these parts down here as well to fall in line. I'm actually on the Zavvi website at the moment looking at the hot toys, you know, just for reference here. So we're just going to go through and just see what we can get, these extra little details and stuff on these places here, so we try and match up as we go through. So that's what I'm using for reference, and here we go. So I guess without further ado, let's crack on with it. So first of all, I'm just using my blue mix here. It's up to you what paints you use for your blue, just make sure it matches the actual rest of the figure itself. So I've just plonked it back on the bootleg figure just so I don't get any paint on the main figure, and I'm just going around very nicely and just copying the paintwork that's actually on the helmet already, and also the hot toys as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and ding that bell if you are here more often than not and you do like the content, then it's very much appreciated. Next up, we're going to just go and grab our black, and we're going to go over his pouch there on his chest, and also in between his panelling on his pauldron. Just be careful to get it over in between those lines. If you do step over the mark, don't worry, just let it dry. You can grab a cocktail stick and you can chip away at the excess. Carrying on with the black, underneath the pauldron, just around on the neck seal, you'll see some extra details there that are sculpted in. What you want to do is just fill it all in black, and it gets rid of that kind of whiteness when you put the helmet on. So now, continuing with gunmetal, what we're going to do is fill in those ammo pouches that he has on his belt there, on his utility part. Don't worry about the pouch bit, just the silver bit on top. Then after that, we're going to take it around to his backpack, completely cover the backpack in gunmetal, going around the silver parts that are already on there, just all over that blue plastic. Carrying on with the gunmetal, you can go over the guns as well and then just leave them to dry to one side. Next up, we're going to go back to flat black, and we're going to go around all his webbing. We're going to completely cover those in black, as well as his back pouches that are situated onto his belt, and also the front webbing as well. So next up, we're going to use XF50 filled blue here, back over the webbing at the front and the back, but leaving a black seam across the top and the bottom. Carrying on with that blue, we're going to actually fill in the pouches as well that contain the ammo cartridges. With the ammo cartridges, we're going to add a little bit of detail with a flat black on the top, just over that clip part. With a bit of grey here, I'm just actually finishing off that kind of Republic cog on his helmet, as it got a bit damaged during the time taking off that helmet. Add a little bit of blue to the ammo cartridges, the little lines on the top. So with the chrome silver, we're going to add on the little buttons on his pouches. Don't forget the one on his chest, and then you got the two on the back belt as well. And on his wrist gauntlet, we're going to carry on that rocket and make that silver. And then we're going to add a little bit of weathering over the backpack as well. Not too much, but just enough to give it a little bit of weathered look. Now I'm just going to go straight in for the weathering part. We're actually going to put it a little bit of, not a wash, but a bit of dry brushing over the actual figure. I just prefer dry brushing than a wet wash. Dry brushes, you have more control over the dirt, and you can just smudge it with your finger, as you see there, rather than caking it completely in black and then wiping away the excess. I just feel this one's got a bit of a more artistic flair to it. Last but no means least, we're going to give him a trigger finger on his left hand side, just underneath the index finger there. Just put the X-Acto knife all the way down to his hand plate on the back of his hand, and then he will have a trigger finger. So here he is, all ready and done and ready to join his brothers on the shelf. And actually, this was a fun custom to make. It's that kind of anticipation there when you actually really notice it as a mistake by Hasbro and rectifying it and actually really bringing that life to the character that he really, really needs. And he looks great, if I do blow my own trumpet there. So really, we haven't used a lot of paints. There is a lot here on the top, but we just do a quick recap and go through it. So obviously, at the beginning, I told you that I was going to use Ammo MiG Blue on here, which is a nice blue, but it's very bright, very vibrant. So I brought that down by using the flat blue XF8 on there, and that is also quite dark on its own. So putting those two together, we have got a nice contrast of that sort of lighter blue. I probably could have added a little bit more of the Ammo MiG on here because it has actually become a little bit dark, but it still kind of blends in and it doesn't look too bad on there, because when you compare the two there, it pretty much looks identical. The other colours that we used is X10 gunmetal, which is a colour that we use a hell of a lot on the channel. On his guns, we used them on this kind of like the ammo pouches down here as well, and obviously mainly on his backpack. We used the flat black kind of all over the place really. We've added a little black detail parts on here and along these kind of lines as well around on his sort of like webbing, I guess. The pouches on the front and the back on his pauldron and around on the pauldron, and adding those black lines in there really brings out the look on that, and obviously the black brow around on the top as well. So it's a good little detailing part as well. On this side, probably mainly the details that you might not necessarily need, but I always use Ocean Grey 2 for the sort of like the Imperial colour. That's what I've added just to add that extra colour back on there that was chipped off with me trying to boil the helmet and pull it off the bootleg on there. So I just used that to fill in the actual details that were missing on there. On this side, we used the semi-gloss as well, X18, again, just filling in those details on his visor, just because it's a bit more of a shiny black. And then we have got the medium blue as well, which is kind of like this sort of colouring around on here, just to sort of add those extra little detail parts on these pouches and stuff, because it's a strange bluey kind of colour rather than black. So this is that kind of good match on there, especially to the Hot Toys one. We've got Dark Ocean Grey, and I think he's an imposter. I didn't actually use this one, or did I? Did I? No, I didn't use that one. And then we have got Chrome Silver, and again this is to add those little blemishes onto the backpack and the other little silver parts onto the guns as well, and just adding those extra studs as well into the actual pouches and stuff. It just adds an extra bit of detail that looks quite nice. The other parts we use a bit more flat black as well with a little bit of water for. I don't really do a wash now on my figures. I kind of feel like it's a good learning way to do a wash, like just completely covering your figure and then wiping it away. It's quite easy to do, but I like to be in control and a little bit artistic over it as well, and I don't want to add too much weathering to it. So just really sort of like drying that brush and adding those sort of like extra sort of battle damaged areas along with one of these Gundam markers to highlight just sort of like more scuffs and stuff on there. It kind of gives me that kind of like, it's enough and it's not over the top, but it's just enough for me. And when it's all dry, I've just gone around with this as well. So it's the Tamura flat kind of spray over the top, seals all the paint in there as well. So this is TS80 flat clear, so just look for it. It's quite, it doesn't really say anything on here at all. So when you go to the model shop, just have a look at the bottom of the actual paints down there, because it just says spray paint and stuff on there. But if you just look around on the back on this part there, it says flat clear TS80. And it's fantastic, absolutely great. I'm going away over my figures as well and add it to Spider-Man, and it really just dries down a lot of the colouring and stuff on there and applies to all those parts. So, and here is Jesse. So let's have a closer look and we can go through those details that we've added on there. So obviously we have added that helmet and just looking a lot nicer. In the actual pictures of Jesse, he doesn't have this sort of grey brow around the top. It's actually all blue. But I just kind of like it. I kind of always like that they have to have the colours and then they work around it with their own colours. So yeah, I left it on there. Put the little kind of black parts there on the ears as well. Tried to finish off the little blue lines because it got damaged with the boiling part, but this side was okay. And yeah, the helmet's looking pretty nice now. Looking really nice and clean all the way down. And as you can see, that actually the blue is just a shade darker than this part here, but when it's sort of like on the shelf, not under like the spotlight kind of light, you won't really recognize it. So I'm okay with it, and I am OCD. Adding on the pauldron parts, we've added all these little black lines and stuff underneath it and stuff. It just makes it pop a lot better. Adding the flat black to this part as well looks pretty cool, the studs. And then we got that general kind of sort of like wash and battle damage all over, which is quite nice. And then down here we added that blue, and then again I've done the little black lines around the outside, so it kind of looks like stitching. And then we added that blue as well, and it just adding those extra little detail parts on here, so it's all gunmetal with a little black strip, and then got the little blue lines and stuff on there. Just adding all those sort of like colouring kind of paint applications just makes the figure look a little bit more premium as well. And then going down just a little bit more of a black around here, just doing the weathering and stuff. And then adding the silver as well to his pistols to give him off that kind of sort of definition. Around on the back, again, we've just got those pouches in the black. Done this all in gunmetal and just gone around the actual silver parts and added a lot more scuff at the bottom there, because obviously when he puts his backpack down. And yeah, looking pretty cool. We can actually take off his helmet as well. And obviously I didn't do anything to the face apart from done a little flat spray over the top of it. And if you look down on here as well, you can see the black goes all the way down and feeds down to that part. The only thing I would say is the helmet is slightly a little bit too small sometimes, and you get his chin just sticking through at the bottom there, so you have to give it a good old sort of push down, and eventually his chin falls underneath it. But yeah, I'm really glad how he's turned out now. So I've got our Jesse ARC Trooper. We have got 5s hopefully on its way in the future. We're waiting for that release, but now we have got 5s. Echo, shall I say, on this side. All I've done on this guy, I've just gave him a flat spray as well, and the only part that I did actually add extra to it is the actual little black parts on these ammo pouches and stuff. And I didn't go for this part. I used a light grey compared to the field blue that I didn't have before, so I kind of like this, so I might go back over that as well, because I just drum it down a little bit. It's a little bit too bright in my opinion. But yeah, now we've got these guys side by side, all upgraded and pretty cool. And also we can bring in Captain Rex that I've never ever touched. I've never actually upgraded this guy at all. And look at this, all flat black. We've got silver studs and all that on there. This is what Hasbro used to be, and now we get this from Hasbro. Inaccuracies and paint apps, not very cool. But nonetheless, I'm happy that Hasbro are producing these figures. I just wish they pay a little bit more attention to their details, because after all, some UK garrisons, or not even just the UK garrisons, look at figures as well for reference as well for costumes. So yeah, it is a little bit annoying at times. So anyway, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going to be doing this upgrade. Let me know, and also send pictures on Instagram to me as well if you do so, because I might feature it in a video a little bit later on, where people are actually been copying me, and then I can actually feature it on the video as well to show off your work. So you can subscribe, you can ding that bell, you can follow me on Instagram, and also you can join the channel for 99p or 99 cents for wherever you're from. And I guess I will see you next time. So take care. Bye!